Hey everybody, welcome back to Culz Checks Out. Our first episode in July of this year. I know we were doing a bunch back in June for Jurassic June, and speaking of Jurassic, we got kind of a Jurassic inspired Culz Checks Out here. Though this one not from Mattel, this is actually from Arttoys Az. And as you can see, it is the Ultimasaurus. The Ultimasaurus comes from the Chaos Effects lineup from Jurassic Park that was going to be a, I guess, animated series that never obviously got produced, but some of the figures did come out. I definitely remember going to KB Toys and stuff like that, and I am lucky enough to have some of them. One figure that didn't come out, at least in the big form, since there was a juvenile one released, but as far as like the bigger model of it, didn't come out, was the Ultimasaurus. So you have seen some love from different people that sculpt and make their own figures making Ultimasaurus. So hey, if they were to continue with the like hybrids or mutants or whatever you want to call it, let's go some Chaos Effect line and really kind of get some really interesting and crazy animals. But with that being said, let's get to the review. Yeah, look at that out in the wild. It looks really, really nice. I mean, I am quite thrilled. I remember when I got the Paradeinonychus from Arttoys Az, also being really just impressed with the level of detailing and the size of the figure. It's definitely bigger than I would have expected, and you know, when I opened this one, I was maybe even more so kind of blown away with the level of detailing. I'm not saying it blows the other one out of the water, because the other one is still super neat, but man, this one is kind of next level. And here we see it out in the wild, though this time obviously more of a full body look at it, side on, and it is just fantastic. Obviously it's the classic coloration. Now at one point there was another canceled kind of Chaos Effect lineup with a purple Ultimasaurus, which you can actually get from Arttoys Az. That was one of the color options, so if you guys want to go more that night vibe, you can get that, but I had to go classic Ultimasaurus since I don't have any. I know there was another kind of a little bit more expensive take on the Ultimasaurus that looked pretty much just like the Kenner version, but this one's really cool because I think what I really like about the Arttoys ones is they try to make it look realistic. If you've seen any of the Chaos ones, you know they are kind of cartoony or very stylized in nature, whereas the Arttoys ones look like if they were to appear in a Jurassic World film. Yeah, they still have the vibrant colors and stuff like that, but just the detailing looks more like an actual animal. So this one obviously is not going to have like action features or anything like that. It's more of a static model, but its mouth does open and close, as well as you can actually remove this. It has the dino damage kind of in line with what you see from early Kenner days, where you could actually cover up the entire dino damage, versus what you saw more recently with the Jurassic figures where they were just always there, always present, which I didn't mind as a kid. I know collectors don't like it, but it is what it is. Alright, so let's look at the detail of this figure, and we'll start with the head, where you can see the two dinosaurs, obviously most inspired or most traits brought through in the face sculpt, and that's going to be the Triceratops, which you can see obviously with the frill and the brow horns, as well as the beak here, though no nose horn, which is in line with what we saw from the toy from Kenner. It's also got like a jugal horn there, kind of interesting. From the head on, you can see it's got the binocular vision like Tyrannosaurus would have had, and you can definitely see the T.rex inspiration. Like if you look at it, I can see the Jurassic Park like Roberta Rexy maquette that Stan Winston brought up, so it comes through quite nicely. Like this is a really nice figure. Like I said, the mouth does open, which reveals some pearly whites, some nice looking, very nicely detailed teeth, which you can see the top of the mouth is nicely detailed, as is like the back of the mouth. You can see it in the tongue, and the tongue and like the mouth have like a very kind of glossy paint, so it looks wet, which is a really nice detail. Like the rest of the figure is kind of dry looking, so it really contrasts and really gives it just that feel of a real animal. But yeah, you see the T.rex inspiration there, as well as just in the lower jaw. It just looks like a Tyrannosaur mixed with a Triceratops. Like a really fun idea. Unfortunately, never got brought through to any Jurassic media, but hey, there's still time, right? At the back, you can see where the neck meets the back of the head, and the frill, the back of the frill is detailed. It's kind of hard to get in there, but you can also see, I guess, from the front too, super detailed along the back. And then you got some big like scoots or spikes popping up on the neck there with some really nice coloration. Like it again, I can see the Tyrannosaur inspiration in the neck, just a big bulky neck. Of course, it has these spikes or osteoderms that of course probably wouldn't have been present in Tyrannosaurus, but you can say it's just because it's mixed with another dinosaur. On the bottom of the neck, you can see some nice detailing, as well as some kind of different coloring paint where it looks kind of dry painted perhaps throughout the bottom. And you can see just like super nice detail even on the bottom of the figure. You can even see on the feet have been sculpted very nice. Right there you see it says Arttoys Az, and then the tail continues down. Now, as far as the arms and feet, if I were to cut it off just like that, you'd say Velociraptor. You might even say what could have been the Jurassic World Rebirth Raptor, because it kind of has that gray coloration. And hopefully we'll see more of it coming up in the extended cuts or behind the scenes, deleted scenes, kind of stuff like that. But yeah, you can see the inspiration for the Velociraptor is there. Really, really nice. Like, again, just the detailing and how it has like that dry painted red on the just like scales there. And of course, both the nails on the feet and the hands are all painted very, very nice. And just like the detailing on the sickle claw, just super nice. Very, very cool. On the back is armored plating, as it's mixed with Ankylosaurus as well. Again, just going to make this a very formidable animal. I believe it wasn't supposed to be like as big as a Tyrannosaurus, as far as like the figure that we were going to get originally from Kenner was more like, I guess, what the Carnotaurus was in the Lost World book, where it was about 7-8 feet tall. But since then, and since it hasn't actually gotten released, you see it upscaled to be the, you know, size of a Tyrannosaurus, which would be super formidable. I think it would be one of the strongest hybrids seen. Definitely could give the Indominus a very easy run for its money, I would say. But yeah, you see nice banding that continues all the way down through its tail, just as far as like, looks like an Ankylosaur, maybe even like a Nodosaur. Just some nice little banding. It is, again, kind of 90s-esque, where it just looks like it's been placed over, whereas in real life it would be more integrated into an Ankylosaur body versus just looking like a shield placed on top of it. But for what it's going for, I think it hits the mark. And again, some really nice just coloration on it where it's been dry painted, so you can see the different scales and detailing give it a little bit more highlights. So wherever you're looking, you're going to see it just from a different angle, different contrast. It looks really, really nice. At the end, it doesn't have like a club. It has some spikes like a Stegosaurus, so some thagomizers, as well as like a possible like stinger. So just another way to make it even more dangerous if it could sting animals and while it was hunting them. Or, you know, could you imagine in a Jurassic film it stinging a person and just lifting it up with its tail? Like, that would be crazy. So like I said, with the mouth opening and closing, there's also this feature where this one comes off. So let me get that off and I will show you a little bit more. So yeah, this piece comes off and you can see it is sculpted so it fits right on the bones and gives it that nice flush look. It's really, really kind of expert crafting there, and something like it's worth it. If you guys can pick this up, I would say so. I'll show you what it looks like without this on. So there you go. You can see it without that piece on. And again, it looks like the Kenner Dino damage. I do think because it is so snug, you're seeing a little bit of paint scratch coming off there, which is a little too bad. Again, it's not something I'm going to... And again, on this side, you see just a little paint scuffage there. Again, it's not going to be how I showcase the figure all the time, just because I like it without the dino damage, but you know, just in case you wanted to do it like that, you could. And just the level of detailing again, and to have that extra kind of, it's not just the outside of the figure, but you're also having to go back and sculpt the inside and then place it over. I mean, it's just, again, a lot of just level of detail going into this figure that I think it makes it really stand out. So let me get that piece back on and we'll do some comparisons. Alright, so somewhere in the world of chaos effects, we find the lone Ultimasaurus, and it's going to be compared to the other Arttoys Az figure, and that is the Paranormal, which I think compares super well. And you can just see, even though it's like in a realistic setting, obviously it's outdoors, even with that vibrant colors, they look really good. And I think again that's because with Arttoys they have attempted to make them look more realistic in line with the Jurassic franchise, and so I think they just look really, really nice together. And if you do have that Paranormal, you can see that the Ultimasaurus is quite a bit bigger, just overall in length and width. It is just a much more robust figure, and definitely I think worth the money. And like I said, the two figures together, excellent, just a great combo. But of course, it wouldn't be the Ultimasaurus if it didn't have a big dinosaur to face off with. And it probably wouldn't have been facing off with the Paranormal, but rather the king of the dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And here we find it compared to Nanmu's once and future king, which is based off the Bull Rex, but like some people pointed out, if you get one of the variants, kind of looks like the Rebirth one, so I might have to get it just for that fact. But yeah, I mean, just look at it compared, and I think this is a great matchup. As I had said earlier, if you look at the original figures, it doesn't look like it was supposed to be T.rex sized, but I mean, if you make it T.rex size and make it this fight, I think that would be excellent. And for anyone that collects Nanmu, you guys know how big that once and future king is. So yeah, it's probably no surprise it mass-wise it is a little bit bigger there, but honestly, not too bad, not too shabby, pretty comparable. So that should give you a pretty good idea of how big the Ultimasaurus figure is. So yeah, there's the review on the Arttoys Az Ultimasaurus. I definitely recommend it if you haven't picked up this one and you want to. I'll make sure to put a link in the description below so you guys can go pick it up. I think it's definitely worth it, and like I said, there is the purple version as well, so if you guys want that one, you can pick it up, and maybe I will at some point too. I think it would be cool to have both in the collection. But until next time, guys, for more Culz Checks Out, click that link to your left. For more about us here at Culz Paranormal, click the link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know, is there a figure or dinosaur you want us to check out? Tell us in the comments below.